Hey all, welcome back to the channel. So it is rumor time today. Earlier today I came across 1 Mile at a Time post about a potential new World of Hyatt credit card. This would be a level higher than the personal credit card. Hyatt has been putting out surveys to customers, and so this is just going over that a little bit. So we're going to go into 1 Mile at a Time, just kind of go point by point with some instant thoughts on that. This brand new rumor, take that with a grain of salt. This card may come out soon. This card may take a little while. Citi put out the surveys for what will become Strata around the time of the Great Flood. So, it could be a while. It could be next week. Who knows? It's not going to be next week. But we're just going to go point by point, see what they're thinking, give some quick thoughts on that, and just go from there. So from 1 Mile at a Time, Ben Schlapping over there, reporting out these came up from the survey. First bullet point would be annual fee, which is always the most important consideration. Could be $250, $350, or $450. Kind of depends on what you're getting for the card. So $250 would be solid if it's a lower end earner card, as long as its competition would be the Marriott Bonvoy Bountiful and the Marriott Bonvoy Bevy. I don't think it would have to do a lot of work to beat either of those cards, so we'll see there. $350 kind of puts it between the Bonvoy Bevy and Bountiful and the Hilton Aspire, so there's got to be some sort of value prop there at $350 that would make sense. What that would be, I don't know, so it would be interesting to see what they do there. $450, you're taking on the Hilton Aspire, you're taking on sort of the Bonvoy Brilliant in a way. It also will depend on if you're adding TSA PreCheck, if you're adding priority pass lounges, what sort of status level you're doing. So these are things you'd have to take into consideration at that highest end. I think $450 might end up working, but we're going to keep going and see what we get here. The card could offer 3x points on your top 2 spending categories from a list of eligible categories. So much like the Citi Custom Cash or the way that the World of Hyatt business card works, it could give you elevated point offerings on your 2 highest spending categories, depending on what those would be, depending on the list. So you could use this as a very targeted way of getting consistent 3x Hyatt points, which at 1.7 cents per point would give you a pretty solid return on spend if that's all you use that card for. So that could work. I like that it would be 2 3x as opposed to 1 5x like the Citi Custom Cash, and also being given that list. We'd have to see what that list is before we can really remark too heavily on it. Since it's World of Hyatt, you'd probably see gym memberships there, you'd probably see dining, you'd probably see transit, you'd probably see potentially airline travel. You'll also get, the typical 9x back on Hyatt and potentially more based on your status with Hyatt. So we'll see what that looks like. If it's 1x everything else, I would probably like a more Hyatt Hilton type spending where you get 3 categories at 5x, or on this elevated card you'd probably be getting like 6x Hyatt points or something like that. But we'll see what they do. 3x Hyatt points at their return on spend in your 2 highest categories is actually a really smart way to go. So if it's 1x everything else, that's not so bad either. Card could offer 10 elite nights towards status annually for being a card member, rather than the 5 nights offered on the current personal card. A higher annual fee, getting more nights makes more sense. I wish it would be more 15 if you're going to spend $450 on the card, but 10 nights at $250 or 10 nights at $350, pretty solid. So I can't really complain if it's at that spending tier. I'd like to see a little more if it's at the upper end, but again, we'd have to see what the final card looks like before we can do like that sort of judgment. Next up, the card could offer a 1 to 5 anniversary night rather than a 1 to 4. Personally, I'd like to see that 1 to 6 on a higher end card, especially at that $450 fee, but 1 to 5 versus 1 to 4, no big deal. Continuing on, we've got the card could offer a second category 1 to 5 free night when you spend $25,000 on the cards in a year rather than the current 1 to 4 category. Again, higher spend, higher reward, makes a lot of sense. Would like to see 1 to 6 if you're going to spend $25,000 on the card, but 1 to 5, you can still get very good value there. The card could also offer the ability to earn more 1 to 5 free nights based for your spending So one for every $25,000 spent, up to $100,000. Hyatt wants you to stay in their ecosystem. A free night every $25,000 up to $100,000 spent would be a good way to do it, especially on a 450 annual fee card, especially if they decided to go even further up the chain than 450. At 350, that's a bit of a stretch because of your opportunity cost. You have to really want a week of Hyatt nights to do that. So we'd have to see what happens there. The card could offer the ability to swap certificates for higher value ones, like being able to trade category 1 to 4 night free nights for category 1 to 6 or 1 to 8 free night awards. This would be amazing. You get your free night at a 1 to 4, but with some additional spend or some points or something, being able to take that 1 to 4 and swapping it to a 1 to 8 would be amazing, especially if you could get one free night at like the Park Hyatt in Midtown and then go from there. So that would be incredible if you can swap your certificates. I don't know what the structure on that would look like, but we'll see. Next up from this survey would be a card could offer statement credits for Hyatt stays or on-premises spending. Great way to knock down that effective annual fee, especially if it's at $450, you get like $100 or maybe $150 in credits at Hyatt properties, especially the higher end ones. Great. Or at resorts. Excellent. Next up, card could offer World of Hyatt Explorer status for the first year and World of Hyatt Discovery status in subsequent years. Just make it Explorist. Just, if I'm paying $450 for an annual fee, make it Explorist. Don't touch it. If you're at $250, I could almost see that working, but just make it Explorist. Just give us an Explorist card, especially at $450. And if you're going to go above $450, make it Explorist and make Globalist that much easier to hit. But I want to see this just be an Explorist card. And finally, a card could offer double milestone rewards after the 60-night threshold rather than earning 10,000 World of Hyatt points or 1 Suite Night award for every 10 nights. You could do 20,000 points or 2 Suite Nights. Again, more rewards for more spend. That is the way Hyatt operates. I think that would be, especially after 60 nights, things just kind of repeat. If I remember correctly, your milestone rewards just kind of go on repeat for each subsequent milestone after 60. So that would be fine. So the biggest things with this card right now, it looks like we're looking at an annual fee between $250 and $450. If we're at $250, 2-3x spending categories, a category 1 to 5 yearly certificate, the ability to exchange that to maybe a 1 to 6 or 1 to 8, more free nights based off of $25,000 to spend, and Explorer status in the first year, that'd be fine. Just not the card we're looking for. At $350, that would be more than acceptable, just because of the value prop there. As long as you're keeping Explorist, $350 may not be so bad. $450, when you're taking on the Hilton Aspire, there's nothing in these rumors about TSA PreCheck. There's nothing in these rumors about lounge access, priority pass access. So if you're going to forego those, you really have to make your free night certificates easier to earn, especially at that $450, or, you know, more flexible. So you got to do 1 to 6, exchange up to 1 to 8. 25K should be getting you 1 to 8 nights if you're spending that $450 and foregoing some of the other perks of a $450 annual fee card, like the Hilton Aspire or the Bonvoy Ritz-Carlton card. Those cards are overpowered for travel. So this would not necessarily be able to take that on, but at $450, if they're also adding in TSA PreCheck and maybe 10 passes, not go completely wild, maybe that works out. I don't know. But at $450, this card better have Explorers. This card better do at least 2 categories 3x. This card better make it easier to spend up with either free nights or being able to move up to Globalist briefly. We'll see what happens there. Apologies on the hat. But this is brand new. This is just a quick rundown of what they're seeing in the survey, or what folks are reporting to see in the survey. I don't know what we're going to see as a final card, but I do know I do know Hyatt is working on a number of different things, I'm sure, at the moment. Pure speculation, not actual knowledge. Let me put that out there. But they've got to be working on things, especially with the new World of Hyatt business card only having a new offer up until October 18th. So things are getting more interesting in the Hyatt world especially if this card is something that can take on the Hilton Aspire, or not the Ritz card. The Ritz card's too powerful, but something that can definitely take on the Hilton Aspire from the Hyatt end of things. You have to start at Explorers, and you have to keep Explorers. The Hilton Aspire does Hilton Diamond. You got to play like for like there, and maybe higher elevated points back for find experiences, and some of their other experiences would be a way to kind of get people more interested in those, because those find experiences are expensive, and would be a good way to get like another 1 to 6 or 1 to 5, 1 to 6 certificate on it, especially because those things cost about $10,000 to start per person. So we shall see, but just wanted to jump in with quick rumors here, kind of give some quick reactions to that. Looks like a new World of Hyatt card at the higher level is coming. Right now, it looks a little underwhelming. Could be good value, but may not be the thing that everybody expects. For that, I may follow up with I want from an ultra high-end Hyatt card, which would probably start at $650. So we'll see. But for now, I'll leave you with that. If you want to expound on rumors, feel free to jump in the comments. For more, like, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.